So, thank you for joining me today, Veronica.
Thank you.
I don't even know if I know your name. Last name.
Oh, you don't need my last name.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
It's going to be Firefly.
There we go. Veronica Firefly is with us today. I love that. Oh, speaking of, let's touch on that. So you run this beautiful skincare apothecary.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how we pronounce that word? I believe so.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's an herbal oasis.
It's an herbal oasis, yeah.
That
It's,
you created, and you named it Firefly in the Garden.
mm-hmm.
So where did that come from?
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you for starting with the big questions. It was very interesting. It was a very, it's a very personal story that actually detached me from, if I can call it, the matrix or the system, because I used to be just like everybody else, running around for a paycheck, and even though I had the possibilities and the land that I walk on and everything around me, I would still run for whatever else, like whatever we are programmed to do, right? So I was part of I was having a studio in the city, and I would run there to teach classes and do healings. And at that time, I was not necessarily connected to the plants in the way I am today, but I was working with plants for my own, for myself, right?
Yeah.
So I used to come home very late at night, 11 and even midnight, from a late yin class from Ron. So I would just come home, and then one night when I came home, and that's when everything switched for me. And it was like one night I came home and I was driving, and it was late in the summer, so it was around 11:30 at night, and I drove, and I live in the middle of the field, in the middle of a field. Like across from my house there's a field, there's nothing. And I never noticed, because of how busy I was and how much time I was spending being out of that space, I never noticed that space. And then as I was driving home, I just noticed to the right side of my car some lights, and I thought they're animals like running in the field at night. I'm like, whoa, I got scared a little bit. And then I look again, and then I saw more lights and more lights, and it's almost like I stopped the car, and I was literally in the middle of the road, and I stopped the car and I was looking at, these are fireflies. And they've probably been there. At that time, I was on the land already for 5 years. So I lived there for 5 years. Never once did I see them. Wow. And I figured from that night that actually you see them throughout the summer, almost every night. Yeah. And they're across the field, like across from my house on the field, and that they're also in my gardens now. They're everywhere, and I never once saw them. So I looked, and I'm like, okay, this has to change. So just looking at that, like having that image and then bringing the energy of it in, I kind of got guided to detach, reset, change, leave everything behind, and then connect to the land more. And I was looking for, at that time I was working with, by the way, you probably don't know this, but now you will know, my previous business was Phoenix.
I didn't know about that.
So I was working with the fire anyways. So I was working with a lot of fire and a lot of transformation, a lot of burning out of ashes and all that. And then at that time when fireflies came in, I figured that was enough burst of ash and fire. I kind of needed to dim down, but in the same time, firefly is a very powerful sign of fire in the middle of a darkness. So it's not seen unless you're looking for guidance, unless you're looking for the light. So I thought that would be more appropriate for me as a business to kind of come down to a symbol that is way more significant. It's smaller, but energy-wise is way bigger than a phoenix.
And I love that, even that moment of you just coming to fruition and like looking at the fireflies, that was a moment of presence and stillness for yourself and reassessment in that presence, right?
Yeah.
And that's beautiful that you acknowledged it for what it was and just kind of...
That was the right time for me to change, because, and also all the way there, as I was doing so many healings, I was doing hands-on energy healing for about 15 years. So I had a lot of practice with touching people and guiding people. And I remember the last few years that I was doing that, I was guiding everybody to connect with herbs. Never knowing and never thinking that that's actually about me. And then everybody that would come in and would ask me something about herbs, I'm like, yeah, you have to work more with that. Turns out nobody listened to me, and I ended up taking that whole advice that I gave everybody, and I got back to myself.
Yeah,
actually.
And that's quite a powerful story. And
that was a beautiful. It
really
still inspires me to keep going. You know, whenever I look back, I'm like, why the hell did I do this? Well, I know now. For
yourself, because it really is ultimately. It's deeper than like just a business venture. You know, when we start thinking about it, it's not. You're being guided, I feel like, and you're tuning into.
It's actually, if I think about my life path and whatever has happened to me in this lifetime, for me, this is a story of, and I was thinking about it driving here this morning. It's a story of the alchemist, and everybody knows that Paulo Coelho. I was born on the land. Yeah. I lived on the farm. I was like losing my sheep every morning. I was 5, 6. My parents would send me with the sheep. I would lose the sheep, come back crying. Like I was part of that, and I've seen the involution of a village. Not evolution. Yeah. It's backwards. Everything was going backwards, and it started when I was young. And I was witnessing all that, and I was witnessing through my own reflection of running away from it, because everybody was pulled away from the land. Everybody was pulled away to leave nature behind because it's easier, it's faster, it's better. We're going to give you everything. So I ran away from it. And I ran away not from the village to the city, but also from the country to another continent. Like I ran so far away to find myself back having chickens. So that was like, okay. And now looking back, actually this whole, I believe this whole experience has given me a full image of what has happened. So now I understand. If I would have been trapped in, like not trapped, but if I would have stopped there and evolved in there, I wouldn't have had any of the experience that I could guide people through, like tell you this is what I see, this is okay, this is not okay. Like I wouldn't have had the experience of both worlds. Yeah. I've seen them both, and I know now exactly what every single one of them means. So it's easier for me to teach and to offer healing to people, because ultimately that's what we do. But you cannot teach or heal anybody unless you have gone through the experience yourself. That's my point and my belief.
100%. That is the key. You know, when there's like gurus out there or teachers spouting saying like, well, follow my knowledge. I know you're so.
Gurus are a different kind of species.
That's exactly it. And I think the people that are really recognizing and opening up to the idea that you just mentioned is like finding that you yourself are the healer, and all the knowledge can be found within yourself ultimately, right? Yeah. That's the powerful message that I think everybody out there needs to hear and connect with. And let's jump to like skincare. So now you do literally grow your skincare. Well, back to the land though too. Yeah. Actually, I want to give people a little bit of a tidbit. You want to tell them where you're actually from originally?
I'm from Romania.
You're from Romania. See?
The world, the country of you know who.
Who?
Very dark energy. One of the darkest energies that is just in the middle of Transylvania, allegedly, because, you know, we have been exposed to stories that are completely not true. But anyways.
So you think the people culturally believe those stories and feed into that energy?
Well, people culturally have been presented these stories in books that people have written a long time ago. Like the Dracula story is one of the most favorite of all times, which is completely fake. But anyways, that's a different different podcast. I can talk about that in a different circumstance. But
well, let's just say you've had such a broad experience, and I love that you're sharing all that, because you've done crystal healing work, and that's actually how I met you when I took your courses, because I was so fascinated, because hardly anyone is a true certified sort of crystal healer, you know, and you show the real magic that's there within. Because crystals are really living things, back to nature and back to that full circle idea.
Yes.
Yes,
You want me to?
in a sense. But you're also, of course, a yoga practitioner of many, many years, and I
Yeah.
think, and a really beautiful meditation teacher. So I
Thank
think
you.
that in
Thank
itself, I think, is one of your biggest, I think, kind of gifts. The way that you
Mhm.
lead people in those meditations is just, you really do. You're able to really find
Mhm.
yourself through where you take people. So.
Oh, that's so beautiful to hear. Thank you. But yeah, every single thing that I have just mentioned, it all comes together in a holistic way.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be a good teacher if I wouldn't know crystals. I wouldn't be able to work with plants if I wouldn't know crystals. I wouldn't know crystals if I wouldn't know myself. Like the whole thing is actually coming together in a very harmonious way at the end, because I grew up on a land where I had access to crystals and plants. Never looking at them, I was just there in their presence. I was stepping on crystals. Everywhere we step outside, if we get outside shoeless, you actually step on not land but crystals. Wow. Which is minerals. There's silica in the ground, there's copper in the ground, there's aluminum in the ground, there's everything that we call minerals is out in the land. When you step on that, you step on crystals. So it's not only that you step on the minerals themselves, you step on sacred geometry, because every single crystal at the cellular level has a sacred geometry shape. We do have the same sacred geometry shape at the basis of who, like at our DNA level. Cellular level, we are just the same. And it's interesting because we step on a very stable cellular geometry, which are the minerals. Mm-hmm. And then we are a very unstable geometry because we are animated with the mass, like with the universal consciousness that keeps us moving and changing and shifting. And then in between the land and our body, there's plants. Okay. And plants would not exist if it wasn't for minerals, if it wasn't for crystals. Crystals are the plant's food, period. And then we take crystals in by eating the plant that has extracted the crystal out of the ground. So we are completely connected. Without plants, we are not connected. Mm-hmm. I feel like the plant is the link between us and the land that we walk on. That's how I see it. Yeah. And we have, because people ask me, like, how come you work with crystals and with plants? Well, they're all the same. Mm-hmm. And when I started to work, when I started my healing practice, I was working with crystals only. Yeah. And then I had the access to remember my memories about plants, and I put those two together. I'm like, you are the same thing. Yeah. And then I would not be able to integrate a pure physical crystal energy unless I would ingest it. And I can't eat crystals. Well, you can. We can eat silica for sure. Yeah. But the variety of minerals that are in the ground, we actually take them through plants, not through the supplements that are found in the box on the shelf. Yeah. So this is where we have lost connection to all that is, like connection to nature in general, by instead of supplementing something that is natural and is what we need, we started supplementing with synthetic things that we have looked at the plants, reproduce synthetically in a lab, and started pumping as a supplement because that's going to keep you healthy. No, it's not. Yeah. No. It's far from keeping you anything. And if anything, it's going to damage you. But anyways.
You're right. We just kind of compartmentalize. We just took a little bit of this from this and that. Even if it's naturally derived, it now is no longer part of this holistic symbiotic process that you're calling that what a plant really is, right? I'm such a firm believer in what you're saying there. I think it's critical to recognize.
We have been detached from our true nature in so many aspects, like being detached from the land and from the holistic way of living on the land with everything that we need. Like everything that we are, we have it provided by the land everywhere. Now, being detached from that, going like, oh, go to the city is better. Oh well, we put shoes on and we lost connection. And starting with that, we went into a system that has been designed to teach us that we are disconnected within, because this is when the meditation, the yoga starts kicking in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we live in a system where we are told that your health is fragmented, is separated.
Mm-hmm.
You have a heart problem, you go to a cardiologist. You have a liver problem, you go to God knows where. You have a skin problem, you go to dermatologist. They have pulled you apart and given parts of who you are, but living detached from one another. So in your consciousness, in your program consciousness, you do not remember that every single part of your body is connected.
Mm-hmm.
The heart is connected to your skin, the liver is connected to your skin, the blood is connected to your skin. Everything that happens inside is eventually connected to the skin that keeps you all together. When you pull these things apart, you're not whole anymore. And then even in holistic things, we're looking for like pieces to kind of bring us back together. We're not looking at the whole thing. So in my practice, working with crystals and with plants, the meditation and yoga has come in to teach me about myself, mm-hmm. about the fact that I am fully connected within, starting with the tiniest cell all the way to the biggest part of my brain. We're connected, we're one. So, and you cannot see that unless you practice something that reignites that memory within you.
Yeah.
You cannot connect with crystals and with plants if you're not connected with yourself. And once you're connected with yourself, you will know what crystals and plants you need. Because most people come to me like, oh, what plants do I need? I'm like, you tell me, because I'm going to give it to you. I have it.
Yeah.
But you have to know what you need. I cannot, nobody. And this is where we're still disconnected and we're still looking for a way to, and I'm looking in my practice right now, I'm trying to teach people about plants. Like, I know all of them. I know what's good for me. I cannot possibly know what's good for you. I know chamomile is for your digestive system, that's fine. But for you, there's an array of plants good for the digestive system. What's your digestive system issue? Like, you need to connect to the point where you know exactly what you need, and then I can help you.
This reality of like needing and wanting to find our truth and our center of who we really are, I think that's at the core of what everybody ultimately wants. Whether they're still very hazy in that knowledge, but you know, people talk about purpose, like that's a big thing. The word is coming up, purpose, I want to find that. But how do you connect someone to their purpose or even allow them to find it when they don't fully know themselves, as you mentioned? Is there a way to help them find themselves?
Well, that's the thing. You cannot help somebody find themselves. You
How
cannot
does
help
somebody-
anybody. You can guide them into finding something that will. Well, first of all, finding purpose, you need to learn how to listen to yourself.
Okay.
And learning how to listen to yourself, you have to pick and choose, because there's so many modalities out there. There's so many ways. Pick and choose something that resonates with you. And resonating with you, that means something that makes you feel, let's start with okay. Not ecstatic, not sure of it, just okay. And then from there, get deeper into it, into any kind of practice. Meditation is one way, yoga is another way, running is another way. Watching a plant outside, staring at the plant for hours in a row, you connect with you, like you end up connecting with yourself when you let go of the will to connect with yourself.
There it is, right?
Because we have that blockage of, okay, what do I do to find that? You do nothing.
Yeah.
How about you step out of your head and just be? Just be. And that's called, that is actually meditation. A meditative state can be anything that allows you to step out of your head and into your heart, but allow the head to understand what your heart feels and what you know.
Yeah, like the state of even daydreaming, I find that's meditative.
That's always meditative.
Yeah.
And more of that, the daydreaming brings you completely out of your body in so many dimensions and spaces. So everything that allows you not to think about it gives you closer to who you are in essence. And choose yours. There's so many things out there. For me, it was meditation. Like I've been meditating for probably 20 years now, but before that, I would have never thought I'm gonna get to the point where, yet alone, I will teach somebody meditation. Like, whoa, that's big. And people have. I went through so many experiences of readings and healings and all that. And I'm like, oh, you're gonna start talking and people are gonna listen to him. Like, really? I don't talk to start. 20 years later, oh my God, cannot stop me. So there are things that will open up within every single one of us at the time that we are ready to express that fully. So looking for a purpose when you think you have no purpose, and working like you have to give yourself the time, the understanding, and the question of why is it that I do not see it yet? Mm-hmm. Because our whole life is looking for a purpose. If you find your purpose, what the hell are you going to do after? Like, exactly. I got my purpose. Okay, now I'm going to work on it. You're going to get bored as hell working on it for the rest of it. So purpose is always changing. Like, there's so many aspects of a purpose. So it's this whole life is a purpose. Is a purpose. Yeah. Is a purpose in so many colors, in so many ways. Like it's like we would talk about plants out there. What plants out there? You know how many plants are there? Thousands and thousands. What purpose? You know how many aspects of the purpose are there? Just as many plants are there in nature. So to focus onto something that you cannot see and to try to see that, you're going to miss the big picture. So I would just strongly recommend people to relax a little bit.
That's a great advice.
Get a chamomile tea. Works. I'm telling you, it works. There are a lot of herbs actually that can help you relax there. Exactly. And then step more in here and then.
But speaking of herbs, so speaking of how you're using herbs and plants in skincare, mm-hmm. and there's many like organic or natural mm-hmm. skincare lines are popping up on the market there, which is both a positive thing because I think it's creating awareness around the reality that this was maybe more toxic and there are better mm-hmm. ways to appreciate and go about taking care of our skin. But then there's this idea of greenwashing, right? That's also up there mm-hmm. where it's not fully regulated. Mm-hmm. People can write sort of whatever labeling they want. And it is still, there's still big corporations sort of behind even these mm-hmm. natural lines. And so how do people go about finding what's truly natural and what's truly good and what's truly still vibrating with its vibrancy and energy like yours would? Because you're literally there's a love and an energy exchange that happens with how you go about creating it. How do people go about finding true natural? Is there ingredients to look for? Is there like something to look out for, not to look like,
Oh God. Okay. How much time
I have? In 5 minutes, 3 minutes.
How much time I have? I never wear a watch, but I have a crystal that tells me.
The key points to sort of look out for out there.
Okay. Long story short, mm-hmm. the industry that has created that remains an industry. Mm-hmm. Industry has nothing to do with nature. They're two separate things. It's almost like the industry is the city, the nature is the village. They're two different entities. Mm-hmm. If you want to live into the industry, get the greenwashing, green whatever, get the label. Look at the label. Don't think about it. Put it on, see what happens, run to the doctor after. It's a different entity. When you want to really connect with what is natural, starting with skincare, your lifestyle, and like skincare is part of a lifestyle.
Yes.
It's not, I'm going to use natural products right now and I'm going to get better. You're not going to get better at all. You're going to hide something that you really damaged throughout the time. So if you want to get into what is really good for you, mm-hmm. skincare wise, look at something that comes straight from the land, as I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. The industry out there has created a skincare out of a necessity to make money. they have created a skincare program. I like to call these programs because that's all they are. We've been watching TV our whole lives, but we didn't realize we're actually watching and reproducing programs. So skincare is a natural need for the body to live in nature, in the cycles of nature, in a harmonious way. And going back to who we were as women healers, I'm always going back there because this is where my knowledge comes from, and this is where my products are based on ancient knowledge. Yeah. I don't care about a label. I don't even have labels on my bottles anymore, by the way. I don't want the labels. I want people to feel the energy of that, because in the past, old women healers would create something that they would apply on the skin just because the skin would be that barrier or the filter that happens between the outside world and the inside world. So this barrier or filter, because there's two aspects to the skin, would take in and process the energy of outside, and it would need support to process the energy of outside, or nourishment to face the energy of outside, and so on. So in the past, we used to walk outside, know what is good for hydrating when the wind was too harsh, balancing the oil when the rain was falling too much a little bit. Like, we would know what to, first of all, what to put inside, so the body will create and support that barrier of the skin, and not necessarily to have to put something on our skin. So herbalism started with ingesting the herbs in order to keep a holistic health within the body, so you will not have to put all that on the skin, because the skin would create a natural environment by itself.
And now, because our diet is so poor and all these environmental factors, right, that's why people are having to
now that everything that you put in is actually toxic, or most of it, or half of it, or whatever, you put something that's toxic in the body, or not natural, let's put it that way. You put artificial in the body's going to go like, I'm pushing that out. I don't want that. I don't know how to deal with that. Let's take the classic thing, the alcohol. It's not natural. Like, it's a natural fermentation, but the way that we ingested alcohol is one thing that your body does not know what to do with it. Your liver does not recognize that. So it goes, I'm going to push that out. It's not going to go through my filter because I don't know what to do with it. So it pushes back into the blood, from the blood into the lymph system. From the lymph system, guess what? We have eczemas. Yeah. And then we don't realize that we have the eczema because we have ingested something that's not right for the body. And then we're looking for something to cover that eczema. Everything that comes up to the surface onto the skin is not to be covered or treated. The treatment is not at the surface. It's deep inside, it's deep within. So that's why a skin care is not actually a skin care. It should not even be a skin care. It should be a health care.
For your skin.
The skin is the end of it.
Because it is the biggest organ that detoxifies all this stuff.
It's the biggest gate that lets things come out of you. And then when you put a filter on it, you're not going to let that thing come out of you. So the skin is going to go like, okay, then let's produce inflammation because, you don't let me spit that out.
And you're pushing it right back in.
You're pushing it back in, and the skin is not going to take it back in. So it's going to develop. It's going to fight with you. And with all that skin care that you put on, right? So it's a very complex subject to talk about. It's complex. It's not a skin care. That's why I don't even know how to call my business. I have to call it business because I still live in a world where there's an exchange of money for what I do. I lived, again, going back to my village, we were exchanging honey for eggs, for crying out loud. I never had money until I was 15. I didn't know what money is.
Wow.
We were living in a community that was forced to thrive out of surviving. And we were connected to nature because that was the only source that we had. We didn't have a store. I didn't have a skincare store to run to, but I had calendula in my garden. I didn't even know the name of the plant. That yellow thing is good for your skin. Just boil it and put it on. That's it. So we have this That's old knowledge, and we have it. Even if you did not have the physical experience with that, you have it in your blood. We carry the information on bloodlines that have been connected to that reality. So everybody has it within.
Yeah.
It's all a matter of stop and look inside. Don't think. Just look inside. It's there.
It is.
It's there. And if you need a guiding teacher for that, hey, I'm here. And there's so many other people there that can help you, hold your hand as you go through the process.
Exactly.
But you have to be willing to go through the process. You have to be ready to
You have to
go
be
through
ready.
it.
And I think, again, for anyone that's really watching this, there's probably been some sort of a little gateway that has been opened up, right?
Oh, I hope I kicked that door wide open.
Exactly. So we never just gotta get you in touch with Veronica, because honestly, I loved, again,
Right.
when I first, let's tap into this. You were talking about even bloodlines and the energies coming up and all.
That's how energy works. Exactly how we do. We're so complex and we're so beautiful in our complexity. Yeah.
Complexity. Here we go. We're gonna get even more complex. Speaking of that, do we really just exist in one reality? What is your belief system here? No.
Next question. Don't make it easy.
Okay, so you believe that there's numerous timelines, so to speak, right? At play. Or are we always existing in numerous places?
Dimensions, time, spaces. There's so many.
And so for us, truly, when people start looking to the future, sometimes it scares them, or sometimes, but we do have control to sort of guide our being that's here right now in the direction that we want to go. And especially as a collective, we have that much more power if we become more aware, more conscious of this reality, that we're not just a physical body walking around, but we are just an energetic body and being that has such power. So that being said, what is your take on that? Do you feel like
go? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go?
Do you feel that we can help ourselves travel in the direction that we truly want?
Definitely. The thing that we need to understand first, the basics of this, is you have stepped into this time space, living into this physical body for a very good reason. And you and everybody knows exactly what that reason is. The privilege to live into a physical body that creates energy, that has the ability to actually create energy, is a universal gift that not many beings have. And that privilege to live in your own temple that you have to respect, care for, and understand that because you live in this physical time space, you have the ability to change and shift energy. Energy does not change and shift unless it goes hard bottom, which is the physical body. When you find yourself into a vessel of a physical body, you have the ability to transform, shift and change entire bloodlines. That's why we're looking at, ancestors are looking at you because you're the last one of the bloodline that can do it. You're the last one incarnated. If you were with their tribe, you wouldn't be concerned about this crap here. But because you came in here, you came with the power of massive potential of changing, living in a physical body.
Yeah.
So when you're out of it, the purpose is going to be there's no purpose. It's going to be completely different. It's a different game when you're out. But when you're in, realizing the power that you have to experience the whole spectrum of emotional being, the whole spectrum of mental being, the whole spectrum of the truth and the lies and the dark and the light and all that, you are an alchemist of life itself, as long as you're alive.
Love it. And I love how you touched on the point that the body is a temple. So all of these realities we spoke about today, about taking the best care of it, whether it's the skincare, food, and all the things, energetically, that's the moment where you can really reach your body's truest potential as a being, when your physical body is in its best state, right?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Your body is your temple. Walk into a temple where you see everything in the right place.
Yeah.
Imagine that every candle and every light and every color in that temple these are the plants, this is the air, this is the thoughts that you have, these are the emotions that you choose to cultivate. When you arrange that inside of that temple in a way that it will make sense and support and sustain and feed your soul within it, that holistic thing is a design work. You walk into your space and you need to feed it with things that to bring things in that will make it look good from inside. And looking good is going to allow you to reflect that outside.
Yeah. And ultimately just living holistically allows your vessel.
Imagine you bringing bags of crap and you're putting inside a temple, and then you walk, you cannot even open the door from the toxicity that's in there. So
yeah.
Please, people, get better.
Exactly. And we are.
And we do understand that we have stepped away from nature. We have made our choices for a reason. We have made the choices. That's fine. Now, how about we end up, we go into a space where we're going to make the difference between what's true and what's not, and what's good for us and what's not. Because you know what? Somebody who has chosen to live on, it comes in, medication, whatever toxicity there is out there. Yeah. Somebody who has made that choice to live on that. Yeah. It's a conscious choice that you make. You take that, you get the whole journey that comes with it. And there's nothing right about it, but there's nothing wrong about it either.
Because you made the choice.
It's yours. Yeah. It's all yours. You want to take that? No problem.
Exactly.
So, I don't know where I wanted to go with this, but anyways, it's...
Yeah. Let's go to this subject where you are... I'm going to give you away. Can I give away your age?
Sure.
You're 50, right?
Yes, I am.
Exactly 50?
Hey, it's half a century I lived on this planet. I might know something about it.
And it's amazing what you do. You do. And you don't look like you're there already, which is amazing. And that speaks for itself, I think.
Well, I don't look like I am there, first of all, because I don't want to. That's where I start.
But you're also
a state of mind. It's a state of mind that allows you to live out of time. A few years ago, somebody asked me, "Oh, how old are you?" I'm like, Jesus, I don't know. I had to calculate. I seriously pulled out my phone. I'm like, okay, I was born then. What's the year? Okay, oh my God, I'm old.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking about it, this is another thing that we're conditioned to believe, that an age defines who you are. Age doesn't define who you are. You define who you are. You want to be old? Go ahead.
Yeah.
You want to stay forever young? Go ahead. Modify your DNA, modify your frequency. You can get there. But then again, if you think that you're young but you're eating at McDonald's, that's not going to work either. So there's
mentally you're there, but
hey, mentally you might want to be there, but physically you're not helping yourself to be there. So physically, what I have done to be there or to stay there or to stay back in time, the time has stopped for me when I started to walk back on the land. I think that's when this time kind of stopped. In my head and around me, I'm just continuously living my best life, being connected to whatever it is that surrounds me, and that is nature. And putting inside my body, like my food at this time comes 89 to 90% out of my land. I don't go to the grocery store. Like starting June until September, I don't even step into that. So I don't know what that is. I got to the point where right now I'm thinking about making my own flour. I'm going to get the machine. I'm going to get the wheat. I can do that. We can all do that. It's so easy. And people are like, oh, I can't have chickens because I don't know how to grow chickens. I never had chickens on my own. Well, I grew up with chickens, but
isn't like
I want chickens. And I got chickens. And guess what? Hey, it was fun.
Yeah, and you do enjoy it. So you're saying it doesn't just preoccupy all your time. You don't feel like you're constantly like only spending time doing that.
No. No. It's not only that. Is you don't need to learn how to do things. That's what I wanted to go back to. People like, oh, I don't know how to plant something. I don't know how to raise chickens. I don't know how to pull water out of the ground. Well, you actually do. You haven't been taught, but you do know. Like we all have these memories. Again, when you go back on the land and you're not forced, but you connect with that and you have to do something, you will know how to do it. Because the land is going to tell you.
So the connection is more important than like the skills.
The connection
themselves.
is all that is. The connection gives you the skills. It teaches you the skills.
Yeah.
Nobody can give you the skills.
And it's trial and error, right? It's like you're a kid again. You're like in that learning process.
It's an amazing way of living in harmony with everything around.
Yeah.
And not wanting to possess everything around, not wanting to control anything around, just look and listen, and then things are going to talk back to you. And then when you get into that kind of dialogue, you're flowing. And when you flow, you're healthy, you're happy, you're timeless. You're timeless.
What else, right? If you want.
What do you want? It's all good. It's beautiful. Actually, it's beautiful.
No, I agree.
And it's accessible to all. Like we live on so much. This is my thing. I would push everybody back onto the land.
Give us your top.
Even give them chickens. I will give chickens.
Yeah,
That's it. I'm gonna give them away.
You can start raising the.
I have so much seeds. I
for
can
everybody.
feed a whole country with seeds.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Actually.
You just store them.
And I've been only working the land for about 7 years now. So.
Give us your top 3 though. Skincare, either actual tips maybe, or certain ingredients to incorporate, or like an herb or plant to really incorporate into your skincare. That's like a must for you these days.
A must for me these days. Oh God. A must for me these days is to use. Here's the other thing that I kind of started to settle into my business this year, and I want to educate that into my customers and people in general. We need to coming back into the timeless, into the ageless state. We need to come back into living with the cycles of nature. And living with the cycles of nature means whatever it is that grows outside right now is the thing that you need the most. Because I have noticed myself like walking through my lands and then working with my plants. I only look at and feel connected with and use whatever it is that I find to touch, to feel, to smell here and now.
It's true. Even the candles, right? People want to light the cedar candles or whatever in the season.
Now, because now it's coming out there. So in the fall, I was chasing sea buckthorns because they were in the season, and I knew like now it's the time, we're gonna go and we're gonna do this. So I incorporated that in the skincare, and then and I walked around my forest the other day. I'm like, juniper is here. Forget about sea buckthorn. Juniper is here. So now forage this, and then nature is telling you exactly. And the beautiful thing about it is that every single fruit, plant, tree that grows into the land at the time that it does contains whatever it is that you need for that time.
This is it. I've heard of this theory for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So right now I need a powerhouse of antioxidants because of the changing in temperature, changing in humidity, changing in the air pressure. Winter is coming. We need to start looking inside. We need to start nourishing the body. Well, guess what? Whatever is coming up right now has the most antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, terpenes, fatty acids. Jesus, they have it. And that's pine needles.
Yes.
That's all you see, pine needles right now, and juniper berries. And the juniper berries are to be taken before the birds take them, because the birds know always what's good. Right? So you got to fight nature a little bit or share with nature, because I always share with my robins. I'm like, okay, you can take some, but I have to forage. I got to do my cream, like seriously. Yeah. So I always use whatever it is that is available out there. And that would be the must that I need for my skin and for, this is juniper tea.
Amazing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so juniper tea, and I put my juniper cream on my face this morning. In the middle of the winter, when junipers are going to be gone, I'm going to go more towards the frankincense, which frankincense is the resin of the tree that brings the most nourishment to the skin, the most anti-aging kind of.
Yeah, frankincense,
features.
like you actually have bushes or?
So I do not grow frankincense.
No, you must.
Most of the things that I work with, it's either I grow them, which is 80% probably of what I work with. The rest of them, 10% I would go and forage them where they grow, which bergamots, for example, they grow in South Italy. I go there and I pick them up myself. I don't buy them from sources that I cannot control. Like I need to go and pick them from nature.
Yeah.
I do not buy things in bags and work with that. I don't know where it comes from, how long it's been in the bag, the energy of whatever picked it from. I know I want the energy to be intact from nature all the way into my hands and into the bottle. And then I do have these things that I don't have access to forage, which is frankincense, but I'm looking for the cleanest sources, like the food grade sources, and I'm looking for small, not companies, small families, small farm families that I can trust, that I can work with people. I don't like to work with machines and systems. I need to work with people because people are the ones that hold the integrity of the energy of the product in. Like they keep nature in the bag. They don't shake the energy and then throw you in the warehouse and you go pick it up from there.
Yeah, right.
I want it from the garden. So frankincense is one of these things that I have to buy because I do not grow it here. And frankincense is harvested in the middle of the winter wherever it grows, because it doesn't grow in the winter time. But it's harvested by literally scraping the surface of the tree. The tree gets damaged. So the tree will create its medicine and push it into the wound to heal it. So frankincense is a resin that comes from the inside of a tree, and it's sent to the surface of the skin of the tree to patch the wound and regenerate and heal.
Okay.
So that's why it's so there's it's antioxidant. It heals. It's wrinkles and lines.
Right.
Wrinkles and lines. Well, just like the tree pushes the frankincense out to create that wrinkle and line healing, we should be able to create our own frankincense from inside and push it and heal wrinkles and lines. Yeah.
No, I really
One
love
day
your
we'll get
stance
there.
Because my husband's of a very similar mentality. He often forgets how old he is and this and that, and people when they meet him, they go like, wow, you don't look your age. But you're right, it's just this mental, energetic kind of
You want to look your age? You can.
Yeah.
You don't care about your age? Well, you can tell, because aging is a timeline trap. And if you're checking that,
It's too linear.
if you're checking that device that tells you that you're there, it keeps you in that hourly loop, and it keeps you into aging, and it's actually creating that process for you.
Thank you so much wisdom coming through. Honestly, I think it's going to be so informative and awesome. I really appreciate it. We'll link. It's your website primarily that you're working through right now with Firefly in the Garden, and your social media pages. Also that. So, and we're gonna have a masterclass together. We're gonna go visit Veronica right at her beautiful space.
Yes, you're gonna be welcome in my lab and in my gardens, even if they're dormant right now. I can show you my gardens where everything comes from.
I'm very excited. I'll give you guys some behind the scenes. Thank you.
Thank you.